bring on Brenda Siler, who's going to bring on another friend, Davey Yarborough. I'm going to throw it to you, Brenda, but I want to thank you all. We're going to keep celebrating. So it's all yours.
Thank you so very much. And I'm happy to be here. From hip hop to go-go to jazz, it's all about Black music. And that's what we're talking about this month. And I'm happy to introduce to our audience Davey Yarborough, who is known around our town and even outside of our town as such a wonderful jazz educator. Full disclosure, Davey and I graduated from high school together, Calvin Coolidge High School in Northwest. So thank you, Davey, for being with us. And we want to hear a little bit about your background in terms of how you got to be known and to become one of our great jazz educators.
Well, thank you, Brenda, and thank you for having me on. Denise as well. Wow, a little bit about my background. As you said, we went to Coolidge, but with me, it started at it really started at the Humpty Dumpty Nursery School. I'm a native Washingtonian, and I said it one day. I'm working on my memoirs, and I was talking to my daughter, and she says, where'd you go to preschool? And it came back. I had forgotten all about it, but anyway. Humpty Dumpty Nursery School, Whittier Elementary School, Paul Junior High, Verbeau Junior High, Calvin Coolidge, Federal City College, UDC, Howard University, and then I took a few courses in University of Miami and Trinity College. So how I got into music goes all the way back to elementary school, where I used to play my parents' records. And in those days, we had field trips to Constitution Hall, and we would watch the National Symphony rehearse. And they did Benjamin Britten's Young People's Guide to the Orchestra, where they introduced all the orchestras. And I decided at that point I wanted to be a musician. Didn't know what instrument, but I had a best buddy in elementary school. His name was Bertrand Thomas. You might remember Randy Thomas.
Randy, yes.
Yeah. Well, Randy had a silver clarinet. That thing was gorgeous. So I went home and told my dad I wanted a clarinet. I didn't get a silver clarinet, but I did get a clarinet. And that's basically how I started. And I didn't get private lessons, but I did participate in the band programs from elementary all the way through high school and had a pretty good ear. And
but I'm sorry to interrupt, but your trajectory led you to the Duke Ellington School.
Yes.
Because that's where a lot of us really saw the impact that you were having on what I call growing the next generation of fine musicians, and especially those in jazz. And talk about the kinds of things that you were doing at Duke Ellington, because there's going to be an award named after you.
It's already there.
Yes, yes.
Once I had the privilege of being able to work at Ellington and start the jazz studies program as a part of the curriculum, I decided to think about how I came up. And like I said, I didn't get private lessons and things like that, but I ran into a lot of musicians and they all treated me like gold. I've had some of the best mentoring from some of the greatest artists, DC and nationally, but the DC artists introduced me to the nationally known artists, the Keita Betts, the Arthur Capehart when I was in junior high school, and Roberta Flack was my homeroom teacher at Verbeau, and Steve Novosel at that time. Her name was Roberta Novosel, so
that's right.
Well, I met Steve. He used to pick her up and take her over to Mr. Henry's, and we struck up conversations, and he was one of those that were really instrumental. He and Arthur Capehart, who was the band director at Verbeau, introduced me to so many places. We had so many venues in DC that there was always a place to go. Presidential Arms had cabaret houses all up and down it was 13th and G, 14th and G, and but musicians came from out of town and they knew the artists that were in town. We still had the Howard Theater and places like that. So they took me around and introduced me to these people, let me sit in with them and hone my skills. So I wanted to do the same thing at Ellington. I wanted, any kid that would come to Ellington had already proven that they want to be an artist, and I wanted them to have the same type of benefits. So what I started doing was taking the kids around to meet the artistry that I knew, Billy Taylor, at the Kennedy Center, and man, it was so many. Gene Foster, I just ran across, used to play at the Jackie Lee's Lounge, and Jesse Adams was the band director at Coolidge, and he played all over town too with different groups. So that's basically what I was doing at Ellington. I wanted to make sure the young people had the mentorship to help direct them, because it definitely helped me.
And then you and your wife, Esther Williams, who is a beautiful vocalist, put together your hearts to start the Washington Arts Jazz Institute, which I think is just a wonderful part of your legacy. What is it that you want to try to do with the Institute, and what you have been doing with the Institute?
Well, I'll start by saying it was because of one of my mentors in college that sent me on a gig that Esther was actually featured, because she had just released her album. But we started dating about a year after that. But anyway, what we want to do, or decided we want to do, and we're still working at it, we want to build an intergenerational support system for young people who know they want to be in the arts. I knew I wanted to be in arts in elementary school. Having that type of a support system all the way through has really helped me. It also helps to eliminate the generation gap. It allows the instant interaction between generations. Want to make sure that everyone, and we do this for free. Our program, the Washington Jazz Arts Institute, is a mentoring program that is geared towards helping and build that support system for young people in Washington who know they want to be an artist. And from the time that they decide they want to be an artist until they're seniors, and they can become the mentors and give back.
And the wonderful thing about it as well, you are able to get instruments donated for the students. If they are not able to afford them themselves with their families, you go out and find instruments for your students. How does that work, and what is the ask that you give, and who are you getting these wonderful instruments from?
Well, it started like Esther was one of those who went to attic sales and thrift shops. I went to pawn shops to get my instruments, because after the clarinet, everything else I had to buy myself. And so I would scrounge around to different places until I found, the instruments, and they were cheaper than buying them brand new. So I still do that to find instruments, and we get them in the pawn shop or wherever and have them cleaned up. And those instruments become, when we find a young person who we feel is really going to be dedicated and doesn't have an instrument to go on to the next level, then we'll give it to them. If they finally get an instrument while they're there, then it'll revert back to the Institute to go to a young person who may not have one at that point. And we've been blessed. We've done it that way. Just this year, we had an organization in Fairfax County that got in contact with one of my parents, and they just donated about 40 instruments.
40? Wow.
But all of them aren't in great condition or anything. Some of them are actually obsolete, but we didn't care. We went and got all of them. We'll figure out which ones can be used. So we do have some. And I have a young student to show you how the mentoring thing I really feel great about. A young man, Chris Nichols, who is now pastor of Emmanuel Baptist Church in Southeast, he started a music store. Now he wants to start a music program at his church. So I immediately just split those instruments in half and sent them to him to continue that legacy. And hopefully that's the other thing that we want to do. We want to let the young people know that they come through DC, they come up, they go to college, they get scholarships and things like that. Well, we want to continue that system. So hopefully they don't all move away and go to New York or wherever and go, but they come back and reinvest or into their communities, and hopefully to continue what we're trying to do.
So how can people donate to the Jazz Institute? And then let us know about if there's still spaces available for the program this summer for kids.
Yeah, well, this summer we start next week, so we're basically, and we know we're about at capacity 1 because it's the first time we go back in person since COVID. But our website is www.wjai.org, And that will direct you. The first front page will even direct you to how you can donate there. And that's the one I remember. So we'll go with that. And the other question was, I forgot.
Just in terms of where things were with the kids registering, but you answered
yeah.
that. You've got full capacity. And one of the things that's also a blessing about your program is that it's housed at People's United Methodist Church. And you continue,
United Church of Christ.
And you bring the group together. You have a group that you play with, and you along with Esther do jazz vespers and other services at People's. And you all have a wonderful way of doing great arrangements of faith music in a jazzy style. Tell us about how long that affiliation has been going on with People's United Methodist Church on 13th Street Northwest.
Yeah, that's People's Congregational United Church of Christ.
Sorry. Okay.
Esther and I have been, our family has been affiliated with them about 25 years. And I always, when I was coming up, ran into situations where churches shun jazz. And I've always been of the mindset that there are only 12 tones in our European classical music. And they're used in all types of music, all styles of music. And we're all children of God. So there should not be. And my grandfather told me when I was a kid that song was the greatest gift you could give back to your creator. And I've always lived with that. And he didn't say what type of song. He didn't say whether it had to be classical, spiritual, or whatever. He said a song. And as long as the song is sincere, or the music is sincere, then it's that gift. And if you're giving your mindset to helping people feel better, and to think righteously, then it should work. And that's the attitude that we took to the church. And actually, the leadership of the church bought into it and allowed us to begin to present in the style of jazz, but spiritual music.
And you were able to, as you mentioned earlier, you mentioned Dr. Billy Taylor, people that have supported you, but you have a gift in the workspace, the room, the music room there at the church that I admired and just kind of had to hold my breath when I saw it. You had a piano donated to the program. Tell our audience where that gift came from.
Well, that piano used to belong to Shirley Horn. Her daughter, Rainey, donated it to the Institute when Shirley passed away. And I used to call her Aunt Shirley. She wasn't my aunt, but she treated me like gold. She was probably one of the few people I allowed to get away with calling me Little Davey, even when I was a little older than little. But yes, we have had. There were a lot of DC giants who passed in their. Matter of fact, we just got from the estate of Andrew N. White III, who was the world's authority on John Coltrane. I was at his house yesterday because we lost him, not through COVID, but during the COVID time. And they donated some music stands and some music and some other things. I'm trying to remember, Nap Turner, noted from WPFW radio, family left a bass, because Nap was also a bass player, where they donated that, which we still have. And some of our jazz giants that we love today, Corcoran Holt, Ben Williams, Eric Wheeler, all from DC, all played on those instruments when they were with the Institute. And of course, the great Keter Betts, who was a mentor of mine. I played in this group a few times. Well, I was playing with him for about 5 years. And but he would come over to Ellington when I was at Ellington and give workshops, and the same thing with WJAI.
Well, this is wonderful. And we want to remind people that they can donate to WJAI. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be a wonderful donation, helpful. And thank you, Davey, for what you're doing and how you're continuing to give back to the community and especially give back to our young musicians.
Thank you for having me. Really appreciate it.
I can't help to say Coolidge in the house. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Got to say that. And Kevin Johnson is here. He gave you a shout out too. He's so proud of you. So you have homegrown fans as well as national, international fans. So I want to thank you so much for being with us today.
Like I said, our pleasure, and keep doing what you're doing. You're doing just as much as any other of the luminaries. You are one of the DC icons as well. All both of you.
We share in that space together. Brenda, thank you so much too for this
My
interview.
pleasure.
Really great. I could have listened much longer, but we're running out of time. You know how that goes. So thank you so much, both of you all. All righty. Where do you come to